Today we are going to get a chess lesson from the world chess champion Gukesh. He's going to explain how to play freestyle chess.
So how would you think about plans with this position?
I guess the first thing you notice would be the weak b7 pawn. Because, I mean, if you play g3, you're already attacking the pawn at the start. But the thing is, black can just castle in the first position.
So as a general rule in freestyle, you want to see which pawns are not defended?
Yeah, in general, especially when the knight pawn is not defended, it tends to be, for example, there is this one position, not this one, but where one position knight b3 is already hard to parry with, because knight c5 would already threaten checkmate. No, I mean, here it's not the case because I can just castle, but
Yeah.
just saying that his pawns are...
We had that against Magnus, actually.
And Andrea had a tough time there. Okay, so then what's the next thing you look at?
And the next thing you look at is the queen is kind of in the corner, so if the center, I mean, if white gets the center control, it'll be very hard to get the queen out. So I would look at how to, get the queen out, how to control the center. So for example, I would consider maybe d4. And if I attack the pawn, you just long castle. Yeah. I mean, in certain rules, like it's the same as in standard chess. Yeah, you want to control the center, you want to develop your pieces.
How do you think about the knight's position so awkwardly on the side?
It looks awkward for now, but like if you just make two moves, knight b3, knight c3, it's completely normal. Yeah. So I would be most concerned about the queen in the corner, because if you don't get it out, it can be really ugly.
So what would you say the next couple moves for white would be, and where your dream squares are for your pieces?
Probably g5 is not a great move.
Okay, we can let you just set up like a position that would be normal in the opening here and kind of explain the dream squares for white's pieces for us.
I would think something logical would be, let's say d5. Long castle. And get g3, trying to get e4.
Okay.
Because for example, imagine I get e4 and queen comes out.
So you want to take your queen out early? Because usually
Yeah.
beginners don't want to do that.
Right, but in freestyle, especially when the queen is in the corner, when you bring it to the center, it's very hard to develop this queen.
Okay, so
Most
that's
of the
something
time.
that's different in freestyle.
I think so, yeah. In general, you want to bring the pieces out.
Only if they're stuck though, in an awkward square, right? Because like, let's say the queen was on e1, then you wouldn't want to take it out as early.
It's also, that's the thing about freestyle, it's very hard to generalize. Because, for example, if the knight was on g8, maybe I wouldn't want to bring the queen out to e4 because I can just attack with knight f6. Because the knights are in the corner, it's not very easy to.
Yeah.
Maybe one rule could be like, you bring out the queen if it's not attacked, yeah.
And in general, one thing I've noticed in freestyle is sometimes people try to delay castling so that it's a little bit trickier. Maybe you won't realize which side they'll castle on, but here you decided to castle really early.
Mostly because the b7 pawn, it's very hard to defend it otherwise. You have to play something like c6, which does not look great, so...
But are there times when you would try to delay castling otherwise?
For sure, yeah, because I think even one game I had in Vicenos where the position looked great and then opponent just castled and it just completely changed.
Do you know what game it was?
The most obvious move here is just king to b2, allowing the rook a pathway to slide all the way. Ooh.
That was a long king move. Did you see it? He reached out and castled it all across the board.
I mean, I was already in a bad position, but okay, once he castled, it was just lost. So.
All right, Andrea, you want to try to take what he taught you and challenge him?
Yeah, sure.
This
I will try
position?
my best. Good luck. Move one, I'm gonna go for the classic.
Who is your greatest rival?
I think not one, many, yeah. Arjun, Prag.
I've been liking that a
But he
lot.
just taught us.
I know. Okay, so I studied this position with a computer actually for today.
Okay.
And we've been playing
And
D4.
we've been getting really good openings.
I guess you
and
can
I've
always
been
go
messing it
B3
up.
later.
Yeah. Trust the process. What do you do for fun outside of chess? You can either develop your knights or actually this move the computer really likes.
Okay, I'm gonna go for the knights.
I like to play some sport. Squash, I've been into recently.
The Indians really like the paddle sports. We had badminton.
Alex, hard questions. Keep asking hard questions. I want to
What was the
win.
other one?
Cricket?
Pickleball, badminton, yeah.
Hard
squash.
questions, sister.
Okay, hard questions.
I'm not here
What
to
is
talk
the
about
hardest
sports.
thing about being a chess player, a professional?
Sometimes it's just very hard to cope with bad results. Yeah.
Do you have anything you've learned that makes it easier to cope with bad results?
Yeah, one thing I keep telling myself is, I mean, it applies whether I'm having good results or bad results, that it doesn't last forever. It keeps changing. So
When you do have a bad result, what do you do after the game? Do you like to be alone? Do you like to have somebody there? What helps the most?
like some games affect more than the others.
Was this worse than G3? G4?
Very hard to say, but
Okay.
G4
Wasn't a
seems
bad
good.
move.
Yeah.
Okay,
G4
sorry.
seems good. What was I saying?
You were saying it depends on how hard the loss is.
How hard the loss is. Sometimes I just move on quickly. Sometimes I like to take some time off. Yeah.
Are you introverted or extroverted?
I think somewhere in between. I wouldn't say I'm too introverted or too extroverted.
Do you feel like a mainstream celebrity in India now?
Mainstream would be a bit much. That was a really good one.
Thank you.
Good, we're getting it. So if not mainstream, what would you say?
I think mainstream would still be like actors, cricketers. Maybe.
Okay, so maybe like
Cricketers.
B tier, or what would you say?
Yeah, after the World Championship, I guess. Yeah.
You felt famous after.
I mean, I felt in a sense like I don't see myself as a celebrity, but like I do get recognized wherever I go.
How
He's
often do you
humble.
get recognized?
Like when I go out, I mean,
Like how many times in a
Depends.
day if you go out?
pretty much. Like pretty much whenever I go out, I do get recognized. How many times? Hard to say. It also depends on the place I go out to. So.
Do you like having more fame? Seems like you don't really think about it.
Like no, I like it. Like it's a nice thing to have. But yeah, to a limit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I just want some time alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, that makes sense.
but in general, it's good for chess. Like I see that kids are taking up chess after the World Championship, and that's very nice to have played a role in that. So yeah.
Which players inspired you when you were a kid?
Vishy sir, as always. I mean, for any Indian, it's Vishy sir.
That's what all of the Indians say, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he was the first Indian world champion, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He has got the second highest civilian award in India. So he's
Wow.
like a national hero.
That's so
Not
cool.
only just for chess players.
But you also got some award, right?
Yeah, that I got the highest sporting honor.
Okay.
But
Not sure if this is a good move.
but yeah, Vishy sir is just a national hero. When you say chess, people say Vishwanathan Anand.
Yeah.
That's what means. That's what Anand sir means to India.
I don't know if this is a good plan,
So,
but
do you think part of the reason why India is so strong at chess now is because generations were inspired by Vishy?
For sure, yeah. Not only inspired, but Vishy sir, he, for example, he created the Vaka Academy along with Westbridge.
What was that?
Basically, it's like the Botvinnik school. Yeah?
And
It was
were
with-
any top Indian players came through
Yeah,
that school? Like
I'm-
who?
The initial group of players, the students were like myself, Prag,
Oh wow.
Nihal.
Okay, this is a really successful school. Okay, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
So, I'm still part of the academy.
okay.
Westbridge now is my sponsor. I mean, a lot of initiatives like that.
I've thrown my advantage, haven't I?
Who's your best friend
In chess?
in general?
I love how many chess players respond with in chess to our questions. It's very
Maybe you could give in chess and then outside of chess.
In chess, I would say
Oh god, I'm so slow.
not chess players, but like Sagar,
Yeah.
Amrita, and some people connected with the chess world.
Yeah.
And outside of chess, yeah, like I have some friends in Chennai.
From
Okay, Alex, really hard
From your
questions. I'm
childhood
in
or
really
from
bad
where?
time pressure,
Sorry?
please.
from childhood or from where?
Yeah, like I have some family friends. Yeah.
What is your favorite type of curry?
Curry.
And you have to pick one because everyone says all of them, and you can't say
have I
all of
lost
them.
my queen?
Sorry?
Oh, I
You
lost
have to
my
pick one.
queen. I
Curry.
played so quick.
Like, I like some
Everything-
spicy curry, like Andhra, South Indian style. Yeah.
Okay, South Indian style.
Everything was fine, and it
Now,
was a
one
fun
last
game.
wholesome note on this. For any Indian viewers who are watching, aspiring to be chess players, what advice would you give them? I guess it could be for any chess players, but I
Yeah,
think
no.
more specific since you have this school and the community is kind of nice.
I think for Indians or for anybody in general, for me, what has helped me throughout is to keep reminding myself why I start playing chess. Yeah, because like obviously achievements are important, but the reason why I started is because I love chess. So especially in tough times, it's good to remember
That's a
remember
great piece
that.
of
So to
advice.
enjoy the process in the game outside of just the results.
I think that applies to really any hobby or anything you do while you love, especially when you make it very far, because it's easy to forget why you started.
Yeah.
And there's so much external. So I think that's beautiful advice. Rick Rubin, my favorite creative, I always take his advice for music. And once you make art for people and you start making it for an audience, obviously it's different than competing. You forget about why you started because you love something. And it's easy to lose your love for something once it's, more commercialized. So that's a beautiful answer. Thanks, Gukesh. Thank you for the game.